Well, welcome, folks, to this edition of the 700 Club. California is now under a state of emergency. This comes after its first coronavirus death. Cases in the Golden State have spiked to 54 in most of the country. That's what the Congress is doing to stop the spread of this deadly virus. Jenna Browder has more.
This is the first death reported in California and the first outside Washington state as the coronavirus continues its spread across the United States. Health officials revealing the man was likely exposed on a cruise to Mexico that returned last month. California officials are now trying to track down other passengers. Testing kits are being flown aboard the same ship after new passengers complained of flu-like symptoms.
The ship will not come on shore until we appropriately assess the passengers.
Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency as the number of California cases shoots to at least 54, the most in the country. Los Angeles County also declaring a local emergency.
We need every tool at our disposal to make sure we're ready to support any coronavirus patients who are diagnosed and to prevent any further spread.
In New York, hundreds are under self-quarantine after family members and neighbors of a victim tested positive. Nationwide, that brings the total number of cases to more than 150 in 17 states and 11 confirmed deaths. Globally, the death rate is much higher. More than 95,000 people in at least 80 countries have been infected. The death toll over 3,200. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., the House has approved $8 billion in funding to fight the disease, including $3 billion for developing treatments. The bill now goes to the Senate, where it's expected to pass today. And the CDC is expanding its guidelines on testing, allowing more people to get tested. Vice President Pence trying to reassure Americans.
If you are a healthy American, the risk of contracting the coronavirus remains low.
Pence says more than 1.5 million testing kits are being shipped across the country. Today, he and members of his team are heading to Washington State, the epicenter of the outbreak in the United States, to meet with the state's governor. In Washington, D.C., Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Well, CBN Health reporter Laurie Johnston is here to bring us the latest reports on the effort to fight the virus. And Laurie, most of the deaths apparently come from one nursing home. Can you tell us what's being done to help people in nursing homes like this?
Pat, yesterday, the White House Coronavirus Task Force announced the government agency which oversees nursing homes is going to this particular one in the Seattle area to investigate what happened there. Meanwhile, they're ramping up their efforts to make sure all nursing homes nationwide are following strict anti-infection protocols. At the same time, they're warning the general public to not visit a nursing home if you're sick, pointing out that 80% of people who catch this virus will have very mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. But the people most at risk of being hospitalized and even dying from it are people who are elderly or have underlying health issues. This includes people who aren't healthy or who aren't elderly, but who may have a compromised immune system, such as people who are undergoing chemotherapy, cancer treatments, Pat.
Well, I've read that the cases in China are diminishing. Is that just on account of their statistics, or what's going on?
Well, that's the bright spot in this whole situation. The cases of the new cases and the number of new deaths is absolutely plummeting in China to the point where the number of new cases and new deaths are higher outside of China than within China. This time, just last month, Pat, we were talking about 2,000 new cases a day. Now it's hovering around only 100. We saw one of the coronavirus hospitals that was so quickly built, they closed it for lack of patients. Production is ramping up, manufacturing of products that we depend on. And experts in the healthcare industry are wondering why this is happening. Is it because this virus is maybe a seasonal virus like so many other coronaviruses that we know about that are associated with the common cold? Or is it because of China's strict containment measures, or both?
Laurie, you and I were talking about the gut. You were talking about the immune system and the fact that people in this country could be pretty much spared any ill effects from coronavirus. You want to tell us about that?
Well, the CDC is, again, reminding people that to not get the virus in the first place, and the best way to not even be infected in the first place is to keep your hands clean and to not touch your face. Then, of course, if you do become infected with it, having a strong immune system certainly helps. And one of the best ways to have a strong immune system and to build your immune system is to keep that gut healthy. We know that our immune system tends to diminish and deteriorate and weaken as we age.
Well, you said something. You said 80% of the immune system is located in this gut flora. Am I correct in that?
That is absolutely correct. All those good bacteria doing their jobs, they protect us from getting bacterial and viral infections, as well as other health issues.
Thank you, Lori. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you, we have had an unbelievable response. Hundreds of thousands of people wanted this news alert, coronavirus, what you need to know. We've got this out, this fact sheet that Lori has prepared. And we also have this wonderful booklet on how to build a better gut. Why should you get sick and die with this bug? The thing of it is, they've learned that it's about 3.4% of the people that get it actually die. So it's in nursing homes and things like that. But if you've got a strong immune system, you don't have to be concerned. So we will give this to you. It's called Build a Better Gut. It's free. Just dial 1-800-700-7000. And we also have a fact sheet on the coronavirus. So that's what you can do.
Can I mention also, Pat, some people I know like to text to get things. So let me give you that information.
Yeah.
You can text gut health, all one word, to 41444, and we'll be happy to get it out to you.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this business about it's a pandemic and everybody's so scared. I want to share you something that the Bible says that I want you to take to heart, because I am not scared. You don't have to be scared. The Bible says, fear not. Now, here's what Paul wrote to Philippians. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Be anxious for nothing. I don't care what you heard in the news. I don't care how many states of emergency are being declared and all this scurrying around. It still is only a very few people who have had this coronavirus in the United States, and a majority of those are elderly or those with faulty immune systems. So fear not. Don't be anxious. The Lord has got it under control. Well, in other news, a powerful Democrat is under attack after just over-the-top threatening of two Supreme Court justices. It was one of the most shocking displays of wrath by a leading public official I think that I have ever heard of. Ephraim Graham has more.
Pat, the Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer coming under fire for comments and attacking Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. He was speaking at a rally outside the high court as it heard arguments in a Louisiana abortion case. Schumer appeared to threaten President Donald Trump's appointees.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Chief Justice John Roberts responding with this statement. Justices know criticism comes with the territory, but threatening statements of this sort from the highest levels of government are not only inappropriate, they are dangerous. President Trump also weighing in and tweeting, there can be few things worse in a civilized, law-abiding nation than a United States senator openly and for all to see and hear threatening the Supreme Court or its justices. This is what Chuck Schumer just did. He must pay a severe price for this. A spokesperson for Senator Schumer later said he was talking about the political price Republicans will pay for putting Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch on the court. Pat?
He didn't say any such thing. He named the justices that you're going to pay a price, and we're going to see to it that you receive this price. And what is it they're going to do? Well, they might limit the freedom of abortion, and that's what he's talking about. And the whole idea of a culture of death, we want to be able to kill babies. I remember that debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I could not believe it. But Hillary Clinton would not budge on the whole concept of partial birth abortion. After a baby is actually out of the birth canal, that the doctor can punch a hole in his skull, suck out its brains, and kill it. That's partial birth abortion. The birth is partially there. And she would not back up one iota. And Chuck Schumer is apparently one of those radical leftists, and that's what they want to do. There's a culture of death, and we stand for life. It's just that simple. Ephraim?
Pat, Tennessee residents devastated by Tuesday's powerful tornadoes continue picking up the pieces in their shattered communities today. Authorities now say the deadly tornado that hit Putnam County was an EF4 with 175-mile-an-hour winds. Two other tornadoes ripped through parts of Nashville and Wilson County. Thousands are still without power after the twisters took out 600 utility poles. At least 24 people are dead. Authorities have identified many of the victims, including at least 5 children, all under the age of 13. Pat?
Well, I want to say Operation Blessing is active now in this area, and Hunger Strike Force completes 2 food drops, 31 pallets of emergency supplies weighing over 31,000 pounds, including bottled water, food, and cleaning supplies. And their risk assessment is working with local law enforcement. We want to help those people, and so Operation Blessing. If you want to participate in helping Operation Blessing, Disaster Relief Fund at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, it's 1-800-700-7000. So let's do something to help our friends down in the Nashville area. It was a horrible hurricane, and they've upgraded it to a category 4. What is it?
4.
Unbelievable.
The fact that it struck at night.
Yeah.
I think really, people were just sitting targets.
People are dead. They're still, I think, searching through the wreckage to see if there's anybody else hurt. But it was just a terrible, terrible tragedy. And the nation stands with our friends in Tennessee for what went on there.